Hello and welcome to Talking Golf with Gary. This week, the dynamic Gary will introduce you to all kinds of topics pertinent to this past week of golf. He'll give you some tidbits of information as what's coming up and take you on a tour around the world for all of the golfing highlights. Sit back and enjoy Talking Golf with Gary.
And hello, welcome to another edition of the podcast, Talking Golf with Gary. Hope everybody had a terrific week out there. Crazy week on the PGA Tour, in the world of golf in general. If you watched any of those tournaments this week, the women's tournament was just very difficult. They had a bad day of golf. Even the announcers said that, but somebody hung on and won. We'll talk about that in a second. And Tiger had a great Sunday. He was putting together a great Sunday. He was so far behind, though. Really tough on the PGA Tour, on the Champions Tour. Scott Perel dominated for the first couple of rounds. In the final round, he got caught. We'll have more information about that in just a second. Got a great interview today as well, but we did have some technical difficulties. The audio is pretty good. It picked it up off of the camera instead of the microphone. I don't know why. And then the camera itself, I was actually using an iPad. It shut down, so we lost about 10 minutes of the interview at the end. But kind of ended it at a good point in my edit, so it's not really like you're missing anything. We just don't get to give you some more information. But that's okay, because maybe they'll invite me back. I can go back again and finish up that part of the interview. More to talk about, and more information to give you. But I think you'll find it very interesting, this part of the interview that we did with Woody Lashen of Pete's Golf Shop. He's a Master Clubfitter, co-owner, Pete's Golf Shop in Mineola, New York. All right, let's take a recap of this week's action. And on the PGA Tour, Patrick Cantlay got another handshake with Jack Nicklaus. This time as the winner of the Memorial Tournament presented by Nationwide. Starting 4 shots behind, Cantlay closed with an 8-under 64 for a 2-shot victory on Sunday. It was the lowest final round by a winner in tournament history to move the 27-year-old Californian up to 6th in the FedEx Cup and into the top 10 in the world rankings. Martin Kaymer, trying to end 5 years without a victory, started with a 2-shot lead, never recovered from back-to-back bogeys on the back 9. He shot 38 on the back 9 and finished with a 72. Adam Scott was the last player with a chance to catch Cantlay, but he ran off 3 straight birdies to get within 2 shots, but he narrowly missed birdies on the last 2 holes and had to settle for 68. Cantlay first met the tournament host in 2011 when he won the Jack Nicklaus Award as the top player in college at UCLA, and he leaned on the advice of Nicklaus going into the final round to relax, enjoy the surroundings, and finish it off. I finished it, Cantlay told Nicklaus as he walked off the 18th green after making an 8-foot par putt that effectively sealed it. Cantlay finished at 19 under and won for the second time in his PGA Tour career. On the Champions Tour, Kevin Sutherland beat Scott Perel on the second playoff hole to win at Wakanda Club in Des Moines, Iowa. Perel, the overnight leader and really the leader from the beginning, and Sutherland finished the 54-hole regulation at 17 under 199 before a 3 on a second playoff hole gave Sutherland the win. Jerry Kelly finished third, a shot out of the playoff. Scott Perel held a 5-stroke lead, 5 strokes, with 18 holes to play, but Sutherland birdied 8 of his last 9 holes in the Principal Charity Classic to complete a course record 10 under 62 to catch Perel. He defeated him then in the playoff. That was amazing. I mean, 5-stroke lead, and the way he was playing, Perel didn't look like anybody was going to catch him. But boy, Sutherland got red hot. I'm talking, really steaming hot, and just blew his way right into the playoffs, and then took care of the playoff. Now, the European Tour had a weird concept, a weird kind of a tournament that matched medal play and match play, and I'm not going to go into how it all worked. It was very confusing. I'm still confused. But Guido Migliozzi, he figured it out. He claimed his second European Tour win of the season with a 4-shot victory over Darius von Driel in the final of the Belgian knockout. The Italian came through the qualifying school in November and now has 2 victories in just 20 events after his triumph at the Magical Kenya Open presented by ABSA in March. The victory moves Migliozzi to 21st on the Race to Dubai rankings presented by Rolex and into the top 100 on the official World Golf ranking, and makes him the second 2018 Q School graduate to win twice on 2019 Race to Dubai after Kurt Kitayama. On the and I got to tell you, this was a computer using tournament. They had a stage A and a stage B, and a stage A I think was all match play, and in stage B you accumulated points, and then you went on to stage B if you had a certain amount of points, and it was medal play and whatever. Guido Migliozzi went through the ringer and won that tournament. On the LPGA Tour, they had a major, the U.S. Women's Open, and Jay Lee Six, yes, it's Jay Lee Six, is number 1 at the U.S. Women's Open. The 23-year-old South Korean shot a 1-under-70 on Sunday, enduring some shaky moments after opening up a 3-stroke lead with 3 to play to hold off third-round co-leader Celine Boutier. Lee Six was ahead by 3 after a birdie on a par 5 15th, but took bogeys on 16 and 18 to give Boutier a chance over the final 2 holes. But Boutier missed a long birdie attempt on the 17th and put her approach to the par 4 18th in a bunker. Her sand shot was not very good, and it rolled off the green. Lee Six, playing 2 groups ahead of Boutier, was practicing putts when the Frenchwoman could not make the sand shot. Lee Six bent down in joy when her victory secure. Countrywoman and 2011 U.S. Women's Open winner So-Yun Ryu. Wow, some of these names are tough. I'm sorry. Coming over to embrace the new champion. Lee Six has the number in her name because she was the 6th player with the name Lee on a Korean LPGA. She has embraced the number, answering to it, and writing a large 6 on her golf balls. Her South Korean fan club is called Lucky Six. Jay Lee 5 also plays on the LPGA Tour, so that's why they gave her the 6, because there's so many Lees on that tour that they had to designate him, and she's pretty smart, She's taking this and running with it, and really, it's kind of a gimmicky thing, but it's a good gimmicky thing. Boutier made a double bogey on the final hole, fall into a tie for 5th at 3 under. She shot 75. Lexi Thompson, Ryu, and Angel Yin tied for 2nd, 2 shots behind. Thompson shot 73, Ryu 70, and Yin 68. Jarina Pilla, J. Marie Green, who had the lead, Momiko Higa, who had the lead in the first couple of rounds, and third-round co-leaders Yu Lu of China and Boutier were tied for 5th. Pillar was the only under par at 68. Higa and Lu shot 74. Now, Lee Six is hardly a surprise winner. She came in ranked 17th in the world and has won 6 times on the KLPGA Tour. She tied for 5th in this event, her 2017 debut, and is 3 top 10s on the LPGA Tour this season. Now, one other bit of news from the Women's Open was two-time major champion Lydia Ko had a hole-in-one on Sunday, the only one of the week on a difficult 11th hole. She hit a 6-iron from 172 yards, and moments later her cheers up near the green, but wasn't sure why. She found out soon enough for her second career ace, the other coming at the Rio Olympics. The 11th, built with a false front and 2 large protected bunkers on each side, played as the hardest hole this week. And it was a difficult course, but, it was a combination of pressure and a difficult golf course. And USGA is known for the difficult golf courses, and not really a big fan of the way they set them up, but it was an interesting thing to see the leaderboard change so frequently, up, and down. It was crazy, but terrific tournament. Congratulations to Jay Lee 6. I'm not even going to pronounce her first name. I don't want to embarrass myself anymore. All right, that is going to do it for the recap, and when we come back, we're going to have my guest on, Woody Lashen of Pete's Golf Shop. And but let's first take a break and be back after this.
Baseball and BBQ, your place for interesting baseball talk, opinions, and history.
Baseball and BBQ, your place for barbecue recipes, tips, and interviews from the world of barbecue. If you like baseball and if you like barbecue, then tune in to Baseball and BBQ. Find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and BaseballTalkRadio.com.
A little bit different today. We are on location in Mineola, New York at Pete's Golf Shop. As you can see behind me, all the heads and shafts, and we're in the fitting bay. And I'm with Woody Lashen. He's the co-owner of Pete's Golf Shop in Mineola, New York. And Woody, thanks for coming on the show today.
Oh, thanks for having me, Gary.
Woody, so tell us a little bit about Pete's Golf Shop, how it got started, when it got started, how you got involved in it.
Well, my partner Pete started in 1979, opened a little store on 1st Street in Mineola, just doing repairs and refinishing. And the business grew. It grew in 1982. I started working for him, and I was in high school, worked him all through college. And again, we started out as kind of a club making, like for wooden woods. We finished wooden woods. We started to learn about custom fitting on our own. Back then we had no technology, no way to measure anything, and we just had to kind of learn on our own. It morphed into, we moved here in 1985, was a full-blown retail store. We had bags and shoes and everything for sale, and we eventually realized that wasn't really what we're good at. We were really good at custom fitting. We're into the technology, we're into learning, so we got rid of all that stuff and just focused on doing what we do best, which is custom fitting. And we're celebrating our 40th year in business today, this year, and I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and people come from all over the world to get club fitted here. I know Jeff Smith, who was on this show, came here from Indiana to get his son fitted, and I know so many other people. You've had pros. You volunteered at the U.S. Open, I understand, as a golf repair. Want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, that was pretty cool. So on tour, the tour trucks are there till Wednesday night. Wednesday night they leave. So if something breaks on a Thursday or Friday or Saturday, there's no one around. But they had the first U.S. Open here at Bethpage. USGA had us there in case someone needed something. We did a couple of small things, not much, but I will tell you that is a really cool story from that time. David Frost came into the store on Thursday night and said he wanted to bend his irons. And he's like, I have my own loft and line machine, can I use your machine? I'm like, sure, go ahead. And I'm watching he's bending the machine, and I'm going, what is he doing? And Pete says to me, don't say anything, he's playing with someone else. And finally I said, what are you doing? And he says, well, I'm hooking it so I want to make the clubs flatter. I'm like, clubs are already really flat. And we came in the net, and he showed me what he was trying to do, and I explained to him why what he was doing was wrong. So he ended up leaving his clubs, putting them back where they were, and he ended up missing the cut. So I figured never hear from him again. He calls me up Saturday morning. He says, "Could you explain to me why? I really want to understand more what you're trying to tell me." So he came and I worked with him. We actually ended up bending his club stick was super flat. We bent him a little more upright, and he actually hooked it less. And I spent half of maybe like 4 to 6 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night that evening working with him because I was busy all day doing fittings.
Right.
And he went on to finish like 10th the next week, and he had a whole bunch of good finishes. So it was pretty kind of cool. He's a tinkerer, but he didn't understand what he was doing with his tinkering. And then when we explained it to him, he's like, "Oh wow, I can do this differently."
Yeah. Well, club fitting is really an interesting subject. I know it's something that I'm interested in, and it's a topic that's up for a great deal of debate nowadays. Should a high handicapper have a fitting, or is it better to get lessons to lower your handicap? I think I know what you're going to say, but where would you fall on that kind of argument? Is it better for a high handicapper, a mid handicapper, a low handicapper? Who should get fitted for golf clubs?
Well, can we start with the history of club fitting? Okay,
Sure.
because I think it's really important. Back when we first did club fitting, it was considered voodoo. Okay, I always use myself as an example. When I graduated college, I had a scholarship, good player. I was a club fitter, and we had minimal technology, but we starting with technology. Back then, PGA America didn't want me. They said, you're not a PGA, you can't be a golf professional. You're off course. You do club fitting, which club fitting doesn't work. It doesn't mean anything. Fast forward today, that everyone says, "Oh, I went and got fit."
Right.
First of all, there are two different kinds of fittings. There's a selling of golf clubs, where someone's trying to sell you something, and there's a fitting of golf clubs, where someone's trying to help you play better golf. And there's a big difference. So that the history of club fitting has been around for a long time, and now it's accepted, but it's unfortunately a lot of times gone to being a sales tool. So when you say, should I have a high handicap, you absolutely, as a high handicap, can get more benefit out of a good club fitting than a low handicap can. And the reason why is that the lower handicap has a lot of talent, and so they can compensate on having the wrong equipment. Okay, the higher handicap has a little less talent, and they are not able to compensate in most cases nearly as well as the low handicap is. Given the right piece of equipment, they can then make much better swings without adapting. So the question if someone says, "Well, I'm not good enough." Well, everyone makes patterns. Doesn't matter if you're a 3 handicap or a 30 handicap, you all create patterns. And a good club fitter can measure those patterns, not calculate them, measure them. So measure your path, measure where you're hitting the ball in the face, measure angle of attack. Those things are way more consistent than most golfers realize. It doesn't mean the ball isn't going all over the place, okay? Because it can be going all over the place. But you create consistent patterns.
So even if the ball is shooting all over the place, you can still get a pattern. The path is similar.
Well, everyone's going to have a different type of pattern, but they're going to repeat these patterns. Okay, and it doesn't mean the ball can be going left on one shot and right on another shot. And that's what a really professional club fitter is going to be able to do. And say, "Okay, Gary, come in. Let's say you come in for a driver fitting. You bring your driver in. I always tell people one of 3 things is going to happen when you come in for fitting. Number 1, Gary, I don't like your driver. This is what you need. I want to change X, Y, and Z, length, blah, blah, blah. Here you go. Number 2, Gary, there's nothing wrong with your driver." You may not want to hear that because you're hitting the ball all over the place, but there is no driver that's going to help you hit the ball better. I think that's one of the key ingredients that separates us from other guys is that we tell people that every single day. If there's nothing wrong with their equipment, we tell them don't make a change.
Right.
And the third is, we see a potential difference here, but we don't see definitive proof that it's going to be better. I want you to come and borrow this driver and go play with it tomorrow and go see how you do. And when that happens, 80% of the time the person comes back and goes, "Oh, okay, I get it. I was nervous. Now I can't believe how much better I hit the golf ball." And for me, people say to me, "Well, how can you prove this?" We're a small business. It's 40 years later. We're still here and going strong. We opened a second location in New York City. all based on word of mouth. It's not based on advertising. We don't do any advertising. It's all based on word of mouth. So if what we did didn't work, we wouldn't be around.
We wouldn't, yeah. And so with all the evolution of the equipment and the technology, how different is it nowadays? Is it easier or is it more difficult than when you started with, because now you have a lot more information, a lot more technology. Does that make it easier, or does it? I imagine when you started, you measured from your wrist to the floor to get your length, and I didn't even know how they did club speeds back then. I don't know how you measured it back then, but
well, we first we couldn't measure club head speed, and then we've got different things to measure. What we thought were measuring, they weren't. They were calculating.
Right.
It's a big difference between calculating and measuring. I think today it's much easier, but I really think it's much easier based solely on experience.
okay.
I'll give you an example. One of my friends had to have his knee replaced, and he was looking for a doctor, and I told him what one of the surgeons once told me. He said, I'm a knee surgeon, and I do 2 surgeries. I do left and right knee. He's like, when you come to me to have your knee replaced, he goes, I've been doing it for 15 years. I only do those 2 surgeries. I've seen it, been there, done that.
Yeah.
You come into me after I've been doing this for so long, I've seen it. I've been there. I've done that. And then that experience, when we pass it on to whether it's Sonny or Rob, we're able to pass that experience on. This is what happens. And the advantage we have, because we have so many fitters under one roof, we're always able to talk and discuss, hey, I had this guy, and I got a problem with this guy. This isn't working. Why? We can bounce things back and forth from doctors, and that's all we do is club fitting.
Mm-hmm. Now, another complaint I hear a lot, and maybe it's because I hang out with a bunch of retired guys, is the cost of golf and the cost of club fitting, where, guys will say to me, why should I get a club fitting and pay whatever when I can play X amount of rounds of golf? And I'll always say, well, yeah, but you're playing badly X amount rounds of golf. I kind of understand it now that I'm retired, I'm on a fixed income. It's a little hard to get the wife to understand that you need something like this. But how do you address that issue with people say, especially a beginner? If you got somebody, I'm going to use the example of newly retired, but they want to start playing golf, and they can go to Dick's and get a set of clubs for $150 or whatever, and get the bag and the whole 9 yards, and I'll tell them, go get fitted then. Even if you get that at Dick's, go make sure that that's good for you, or at least the length is good or whatever. How do you combat that? How do you talk to somebody like that?
There's no question that it's expensive to get club fit. It's expensive to buy good equipment today. It's, the golf companies are making better and better equipment that's more and more expensive, and unfortunately, it's not for everybody. Club fitting can't be for everybody. I wish it could be. One of the things I learned a long time ago is you can't be all things to all people.
Right.
And in order to be good at what we do, in order to have all these demos, we've got to charge for our time, and the equipment is expensive. So you love to tell everybody, I can help everybody. And some people you can't. That said, good golf clubs should last a long time. You go to get club fit, if you play a lot of golf, with the exception of changing the grips, 7 to 10 years clubs should last. They can last 15 years if your body hasn't changed and your strength and stuff hasn't changed that much. The companies would love to tell you have to buy new golf clubs every single year. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. If you buy good equipment, it should last a long time. So if you're looking to make an investment, you say, well, geez, I'm going to play 20 rounds of golf a year, and I'm going to play for 10 years. What's the amortization of that cost of that driver and that driver fitting? If it helps you play better golf. And again, what we're going to do is, if you come into us and you've got a good driver, yes, you have to pay for that time, but you're not going to be buying something new if it's not going to be better.
Okay.
And I think that's important.
You mentioned grips, and of course, is that part of the fitting process? I imagine also getting fit for a grip. Now, of course, when we both started years and years ago, You only had one size grip. You could build up the grip if you wanted, but you essentially got a standard grip, and it would all be done with tape underneath, more or less. Now the big trend is towards bigger grips, especially in the putters with the super strokes and the whatnots. Golf Pride's got it, and now I'm starting to see, and maybe because I've been out of it, I'm just getting back into it, but I'm starting to see bigger size grips all along for all your clubs. What is the advantage? Because I'm actually thinking of going to a bigger grip myself. I'm 66 years old now. I've got a little arthritis in the hands. Not that I find it uncomfortable, a standard grip, but I was holding one of the jumbo grips out there, and it just felt a lot better. So, how does that figure all into the club fitting part of it?
So even 35 years ago when we were doing Wooden Woods, they had jumbo grips. People didn't know about it, but they existed, okay? And we still, in order to get the right size, sometimes do build up with tape, because let's say they offer, undersized, standard, mid, and oversized. Well, what if you need something in between? You're still going to build it up. So we still use tape to this day. It's just that you have more options. There's the marketing aspect of grip companies is got you going, oh, there's bigger grips. Well, they were around a long time ago. Very interesting when it comes to grip size. One of the things you hear a lot is that there's an old theory. Make the grip smaller, and for a righty the ball will go more to the left. Make the grip bigger, for a righty and the ball will go to the right. I can tell you, after doing this for a long time, that is a myth. Okay? It's an absolute myth. The key ingredient is grip pressure. How can you get someone to hold the golf club and not over grab it? When they're over grabbing it, they're not going to release their hands, the ball's not going to perform properly. So there's plenty of golfers who slice the golf ball and might do much better with a larger grip. One of the things you mentioned, you have arthritis. So it's a very big thing. I have arthritis in my hands. My hands actually fit into a small grip, and I played a small grip forever.
Right.
When my arthritis really started bothering me, I've had to go into a much bigger, softer grip, so my hands don't hurt as much. If you have arthritis in your hands, you can't close your hands like you could when you were younger.
Right.
You need a larger grip. A lot of times you need a grip that's going to absorb the shock of a bad shot, so you're not holding on so much. When you have a physical limitation like that, there's a little trial and error, because there's no science that says you should be using this. Okay? And what we usually do is we put one grip on and let someone go hit it and see how it reacts. But it can make a big difference. I've got plenty of players that come in, you see their hands wrapped around the golf club, and they don't even realize, and then you put the right size grip in their hand, they go, oh my. And then there's plenty of players where we've got a grip that's too big for their hands, because they're holding the club so tight, the only way to get them to release the golf club is to hold it with a bigger grip and not grab it as much.
And it doesn't, sometimes I wonder if that's going to restrict my release, my hand release, having the bigger grip. That's the only thing that concerns me.
Yeah, so it's interesting. Again, that old theory, right? Well, the smaller would be easier. It doesn't work that way. If your hands are relaxed, you release. If your hands are not relaxed, you're not going to release.
Okay.
So you might release a lot more with that larger
bigger grip.
Oh yeah, a lot more.
Yeah,
a lot more.
Okay, and the shock factor is another thing that
huge
with arthritis.
It's huge. If you've got pain in your body, how are you going to enjoy golf, and how are you going to possibly swing relaxed? Take that away, you can enjoy more and hit a lot better shots.
Now, we talked about driver fitting, iron fitting. It's pretty much, I guess, similar to a driver fitting thing with all the interchangeable heads now and shafts and everything. We discussed this a little earlier, but maybe people will be interested to know. When somebody comes in here and they say, I need a new driver, or I want to get a new set of irons, and I like muscleback or the forged irons, but when you see them hit that they really should be in a cavity back or more forgiving iron. How do you approach that kind of a situation?
Well, first of all, the fitting process starts long before someone comes in.
Okay.
So every club that we have, whether it's iron or wood, we have measured ourselves, tested ourselves, and in almost all cases spoke to the engineers that designed that golf club. So we know how it works. And we fit what we call brand neutral. So when you come in, we don't ask you what you're looking for.
Okay.
We try to figure out what's best for you. For example, you get that player that comes in and says, well, I'm really looking for this type of head. Well, first thing I want to do is figure out what's best for them. What it really would be best for them. If it's a big shovel-looking golf club, it's best for them. They may not like the look of it. We know they'll never go enjoy playing golf with that, but let's figure that out first. Today, there's a lot of great options in small, good-looking packages that are really stable and really forgiving. Some even more forgiving than some of these big, ugly-looking clunker golf clubs. And that's all because of the engineering. Mm-hmm. One major company was telling me that 10 years ago, they had 10 engineers in their company, and today they've got like 103. So the manufacturers have built these staffs and by the way, so many of them come from the aerospace industry. These are smart, really smart engineer guys, mm-hmm. And gals. And there's one gal that designs woods for one company that's fantastic. So it's guys and gals. It's just great engineers, mm-hmm. And they've been able to build stuff that has a great look and a great feel and super forgiving. Stuff that you couldn't get 5 or 10 years ago.
And when you speak to the engineers, are they? Well, I guess it's across the board. They're looking to design pro-type equipment, but also are they looking to design for the average player, more forgiving irons, that sort of thing? Or is it just, do they just design and, for a single thing, or?
They're designing to a variety of players.
Right.
Okay, I mean, so from the tour level, through every handicap zone. If you look at most manufacturers today, they've got a variety of golf clubs that are all designed around different needs. So for example, I need to get the ball up in the air, there's certain clubs that are going to work best for that. You need to hit the ball lower, there's certain clubs for that. Mm-hmm. They're really a much wider variety. And that's one of the reasons when you look from each manufacturer, why they're making 5 different irons. Well, because there's probably 50 different players, they just chose to make 5 different versions. Right. To try and cover as much as they can. Mm-hmm. The goal is to figure out what do you need. Mm-hmm.
Sponsor an ad on the podcast. Support our show and let people know about your business. Email us today.
516-362-0443. That is the Talking Golf Hotline. If you've got a question, a comment, or want to leave a voicemail, say hi. That's the number to call, 516-362-0443. Or if you'd like to leave an email, you can email the show at talkinggolf@gmail.com.
Now it's time to do the calendar. Now it's time to do the calendar. Oh, hooray, let's sing the calendar. Now it's time to do the calendar.
Alrighty, on the calendar for next week, got a lot of action going on as everybody's getting set for the U.S. Open in 2 weeks. So buckle up, Buttercup. It's coming fast. Next week on the PGA Tour is the RBC Canadian Open. Dustin Johnson will be the defending champion in that one. The Champions Tour is in action, and they'll be playing the MasterCard Japan Championship. And Colin Montgomery is the defending champion in that event. Now, the European Tour's got another wacky one. They've got a little 2-day team event. It's the Golf Sixes Cascals. No idea what that means. But Ireland, the team from Ireland are the defending champions in that one event. So that's on the European Tour. And finally, the LPGA Tour is in action, and they're actually in my about 3-4 hours away from me in New Jersey as they play the ShopRite LPGA Classic presented by Asa, and Annie Park is the defending champion in that one. And I wish I had planned earlier on that. Wasn't quite sure where the locale was, and then I discovered it on a trip in that area, and I really slapped myself in the head that I didn't try to get more interested in that and get a press pass and things like that, and try to get down there for that. But maybe next year. Good Lord willing, maybe next year. And, we're working hard towards that. Saw the video there. I'm still a little chubby around the outside, but I have lost now 89 pounds, 90 pounds, essentially. And I feel terrific. I'm playing golf again. Not very well, but losing it. And one of the things that helped me immensely was my wife's cooking is terrific. She took a lot of recipes and made them more. We're following the Weight Watcher plan, so she made them to fit into that plan. And the food's great. It's delicious. And now you can get those recipes. Yes, if you're interested, you can. It's called the Incredible Shrinking Moms Recipes, and you can pick them up at the IncredibleShrinkingMom.com. Go check that website out. Got all kinds of stuff. She's got a page on Facebook and all of that. We'll have more information about all of that next week, but go check it out, the Incredible Shrinking Mom Recipes. They're reasonably priced. The May package, it's a package of 5, and they come in recipe cards. And we'll get all into that next week. But go check it out. It's terrific, and the food is so, and the results have been there. Just look at me. All right, that's going to wrap it up for this week's show. I hope you enjoyed it, and I want to thank my guest, Woody Lashen of Pete's Golf Shop in Mineola, New York. And remember, if you want a Master Clubfitter to fit you for your clubs, this is a place that's known around the world. People fly in from all over the world to come to Pete's Golf Shop. They've done over 75,000 fittings. They've been in business for 40 years. These guys are masters, and they know what they're doing. So if you're really interested and want to do that, please consider going to Pete's Golf Shop in Mineola, New York. And it's a terrific store, and the staff is just unbelievably nice. So go check it out. And I want to thank all of you for listening. And don't forget to subscribe on iTunes, YouTube, Spreaker, Google Play, Spotify, wherever you listen or watch the podcast. Hit the subscribe button. That helps me grow the show and expand to new listeners. And until next time, remember, as you walk down the fairway of life, you must smell the roses, for you only get to play one round. Have a great week, everybody. I'll see you the next time on another episode of Talking Golf with Gary.